Chegou a novidade pro rolê. E aí, você já provou? Topo Chico.
Um divisor de águas, com gás, com álcool e aroma natural de fruta.
Credo, que delícia. Pra você beber geladinho na beira da praia, da piscina, da banheira, Por que não? Difícil encontrar um rolê que não combine.
Topo Chico, leve e refrescante em 90 calorias.
E aí, topa?
Olá, muito bom dia, 14 de dezembro, terça-feira, 11 da manhã, Brasil, 3 horas da tarde em Londres, 4 horas da tarde na Espanha e na Alemanha. Teremos convidados internacionais aqui entrando já já. Ontem a gente começou a nossa Power Week On, que encerra a nossa temporada do ON. Quem esteve nos acompanhando aqui no BRMC viu os nossos foram 24 semanas consecutivas que a gente trouxe convidados das mais diferentes esferas aí da música brasileira, eletrônica e não só eletrônica, outros gêneros da economia criativa e entretenimento, para tratar desse momento único e desafiador que está sendo ainda a pandemia e para tentar trazer um norte aí para o futuro, para o que nos aguarda em termos de próximos passos. E aí a gente encerra esse ano com essa proposta que é a nossa Power Week, que a ideia é justamente fazer um envelopamento, fazer um wrap-up de tudo de bom. Isso é importante dizer, porque o lado ruim a gente sabe, e a gente não está aqui se negando a olhar e observar, vidas que levaram, devastação em alguns setores da economia, o nosso... um lado do setor do entretenimento presencial, principalmente, ficou muito afetado, ainda está. De fato, isso é muito significativo. No entanto, quais foram as oportunidades, quais foram as transformações positivas, quais foram o lado de luz de tudo isso? Então, quando a gente cria a Power Week, a gente pega a palavra semanticamente poder, né, que é aquela capacidade de realização, de vigor, de coragem, tudo isso que a gente precisa para sobreviver, acho que nesse planeta, mas em dias mais difíceis a gente traz mais para dentro ainda essa noção de poder. E eu acho que, falando ainda de poder, a gente tem algo na música que, num mundo tão dividido por questões de gostos, raça, credo, tão polarizado, a gente vê o mundo político, mas a gente tem a inteligência de verdade, a inteligência de agregar. Então, a música tem bastante isso, sua mensagem, suas comunidades. Então, quando a gente fala de Power Week, também a gente está falando desse poder que a música tem de agregar, de unir. E todo são 16 painéis, a gente tem 4 slots diários, 16 programas, né? O slot da manhã, que é esse que a gente está aqui, que é o Morning Sessions. No início da tarde é o Opening Slot. No seguinte é o Sunset Hour e a gente termina no Chill Out. Nosso patrocinador aqui é o Topo Chico, essa bebida simpática e inovadora, pouquíssimas calorias, com o mesmo teor alcoólico de cerveja, uma delícia para tomar no pré ou no After Hours ou no Chill Out. Ontem a gente teve muitas participações aí, o Dave Clark fez uma brincadeira com o Topo Chico, o nosso querido patrocinador, que a gente está aqui muito satisfeito em tê-lo ao nosso lado. Importante dizer que esse programa está indo ao ar pelo YouTube e pelo Facebook e fica apenas até 31 de dezembro. A gente tem aqui mais 3 programas aí durante a tarde. Antes eles começam com o Morning Sessions e depois eu falo mais um pouquinho do programa da tarde. Sem mais delongas, I'm sorry to start this panel in Portuguese, my great... Excuse me. Flávio, me ajuda aqui a colocar todo mundo na tela, por favor? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Gabi.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, Tristan. You are there.
Hi,
All right.
Claudio. Good to see you. How are you?
Fine, fine. So, first of all, we are very, very delighted and honored to have you all here. AFM, it's actually a trade body of our industry that shows all the landscape and all the each challenge. I myself and BRMC is part of it since I guess to 2011. I am one of the advisory board. I've been on the live sector for a time. So it's very great to have on the end of this challenging year you here with us to oversee what we have again in the bright side and good trends, the positives of all of this. Gabi Loshi will be is a renowned journalist from Brazil, living in New York, where we met a long time ago. Gabi, thank you for being here with us as well.
And in Berlin as well.
In Berlin as well. And yeah, we've been together in Berlin, where Golly is right now. So it's 3 p.m. in UK, it's 4 p.m. in Spain and in Germany, where Golly and Tristan are right now. So please start talking a little bit, Greg, as general manager, about the role of AFM, what you have seen from this challenging year. Welcome, a warm welcome from Brazil.
Thanks very much, Claudio and Gabi. Really appreciate you having us on. Yeah, I mean, this year, as everyone knows, has been a year like no other. The challenges have been significant, and we've been working really hard as a team just to find ways to support our members and the broader electronic music industry however we can. That, I guess, in the first instance has been around connecting our members and industry to share intel across territories through live sector and recorded sector calls, which actually helped us define how we should respond to this. We've been collating resources for financial aid and live sector advice and well-being on a dedicated website or dedicated web page, fundraising directly to help our membership, and also supporting others' fundraising initiatives, connecting and collaborating with trade bodies around the world, particularly venue and live sector specific ones where we can. A key thing for us has been viable and safe event models research. We can sort of go into more details on that, as well as these emergency response pieces. We've been sort of moving forward initiatives around on green and sustainability, diversity and inclusion, anti-piracy, live streaming. It's pretty broad, and then in all the midst of that, we managed to find time to launch a new website as well. So it's been pretty hectic.
Greg, before this, sorry, just give a short introduction about the aim of AFM.
Sure, what we do.
Sure. Historically, yeah. Sorry, I went fast.
That's no problem. So, we're a trade association for all businesses involved in electronic music, and so the entire ecosystem of industry sectors are involved. So we have our members are publishers and labels, retailers, distributors, talent agents, managers, legal, and we connect our membership to sort of for business opportunities, but also to affect change in the industry where we need it, and to provide a strong voice where it's required. I guess the one area where we don't have lots of members is specifically clubs, and that's because what clubs need are very specific to their territory and sometimes specific to the town in which they are. But we work closely with club-specific trade bodies to understand and see how we can support them. And we started in, I think it was 2013, like 7 years old, and it's now to 220 company members in 25 different countries across the world. It's been an organic growth, and sort of what you see here on screen with Golly, Tristan, and myself is kind of we also have Mel, our comm support in Australia. This is the sort of the core team that drives AFEM forward.
Great. Golly, please welcome again and go on. Actually, your role in AFM and what you have been seeing in this last year.
I haven't been with AFM for a year. I just jumped on board in October. My background, I'm a booking agent. I own a booking agency and a management company. And in around August, I entered some talks with Ben Turner, one of the co-founders of AFEM. And we were speaking about how I was looking for ways to get involved in, the structure and get involved in the ways where we can correct the electronic music space or whatever's going to be left of it after the pandemic. To be honest, I didn't really know much about AFEM. I had met Greg before through another conversation, but that was the thing. I was an independent booking agent, and I was working in my corner, and AFEM was mostly consisting of bigger companies, and I didn't know anything about AFEM. So when I found out, I was really eager to join forces with Tristan, I'm a regional manager as well. I just kind of advise in the live sector because I'm an agent, and join forces with Tristan and Greg and give them support in everything that we're trying to do, all of the things that Greg just mentioned. It's a long list, and it's really inspiring. I'm seeing so much community through the members, so much enthusiasm to come up with new ideas and how to correct what we have right now, what the status quo is, how to envision a new future. So yeah, it's great to be on board. But like I said, I've only been around for 2 months now, so yeah.
She's having a great impact already. So
great, and you are on the diversity and inclusion committee.
Yes, well, basically, I'm kind of taking over the live music sector calls, the working groups. Like AFEM is how we do things is we work with working groups, as you know. And I'm also kind of managing the diversity and inclusion working group, and lots to learn. Every conversation is really enlightening. Really excited about both of them. But yeah, the year is ending, and it feels like I just joined AFEM 3 weeks ago. So looking forward to next year and seeing what we can do together.
Great. Dear Tristan, welcome. How are you?
Claudio, great to see you. Very well, thank you, sir. Very, very good to see you, and thanks for...
Which city in Spain are you talking from?
I'm in Valencia at the moment.
Great. So you're a regional manager from AFM. Tell us more about your role and what you have been seeing, please.
So I joined AFM as a member quite early on, back in 2013, as Greg said, sort of when it started, and then I got elected to the executive board and spent 2 terms on the executive board, and then saw what the organisation did. Was always really impressed by what AFM was doing worldwide, and then had the opportunity to join the team back in 2018, and I've been a regional manager since. I principally look after 2 working groups, or 3 working groups now with anti-piracy. So I look after the anti-piracy working group, so obviously making sure that rights holders are being protected against piracy. And then also looking at green initiatives. So we have a green initiatives working group, which is looking at sort of the future of the industry. What are we doing now? What can we change? The pandemic's providing an amazing opportunity actually for our industries to sort of step back and look at our practices and reevaluate slightly about sort of how events are run, how we travel, how we communicate, all of these different things that have an environmental impact, what we can do as an industry, maybe when things start to pick up again, especially in the live side, to have better practice in terms of looking after our environment. So that's part of one of the working groups that I help to look after. And the other one is mental health. So we have a health working group which looks at physical and mental health. Mental health, as we all know, has been a massive topic over the past few years, which is wonderful to see our industry giving it so much attention. And we're really having conversations that maybe wouldn't have happened sort of 4 or 5 years ago. We've seen mental health be taken to a headline topic at conferences like this and throughout the electronic music industry worldwide, which I think is enabling much more healthy conversations to be had around the topic, and then us as an industry looking at how we can address those subjects to make sure that everybody that's working and playing within the industry is safe, happy, and well.
Great. Just a quick note, actually, Kikelomo, Kike Oludemi from Native Instruments that should be here. Actually, she had a urgent surgery, something in her abdomen, but she's okay. She sent us a picture from Berlin Hospital, and we wish you all the best, Kike. Gabi, do you want to make your first question, please?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to have a drive on what Tristan was saying about mental health and how you were observing things in the scene that maybe, I mean, we all had to step back, like you said, right, a little bit and observe what you were doing, where are we going. So I would like you to just talk a little bit about this kind of like what you observed, that you think the whole scene, I mean, obviously you deal with a lot of nationalities and countries and different kind of cultures. So although electronic music is a whole big energy happening everywhere and everyone gets connected, we do have particularities in between countries and cultures and things. So I would like you to say a little bit what you have observed that you think that most of the countries or culture, let's put it this way, needs to change, and complement with what could you point as opportunities and transformations that would make the industry recover, the positives and things that we need to change.
Well, great question, Gabi. I think in terms of how the international community works together in terms of mental health especially, there are some commonalities. So the stress that a lot of our industry has, especially artists around touring, is something that's it's been really great to see actually leading up to the pandemic, more and more agencies and management companies taking an initiative on, where they've been building in support for touring artists, for example, where they are given coaching or therapeutic support with clinicians who are there for their journey. So when they're touring, for example, they have a support team there with them. So maybe we've seen examples in the past, and I'm sure we're all familiar with these, where we've seen people maybe drinking or self-medicating to deal with the stress and pressure that sometimes comes from touring and being in those high-pressure environments. We're seeing a real shift now to where great clinical therapeutic care is put in place for those individuals, so they can go and do their job well, and they can do it in a happy, healthy environment. And I think the artists have sort of been at the vanguard of that, and we're starting to see more of it. We'd love to see more of it, even so, going on when things sort of resume and move into the new normal, whatever that might look like. But we're seeing it for the broader community as well. So we're seeing more and more companies who are adopting mental health first aid training, for example, where they can properly take care of their staff and themselves, whether that's a record label, whether they're backstage or main stage or an artist or in A&R, whatever area of the industry that we're in. This growing importance that actually for us all to have sustainable, happy careers and for the industry to thrive, we need to take care of ourselves. We need to take care of one another. So going to your point about the opportunities that lie await for us sort of in the future, I think it's a greater focus on that, is how do we maintain individuals' sense of well-being within what is a very competitive, sometimes stressful industry. How do we better manage those environments for those individuals to make sure that we're here for the long haul and we're all able to enjoy this amazing experience of working in this incredible industry.
Any take on this, Greg and Goli?
Greg,
just simply that nurturing a culture of care is the key thing here. It's that everybody works incredibly hard in this industry because there's a passion, and you mustn't lose sight of where you're overextending yourself beyond what is healthy for you. And so, if you do that on a long-term basis, and you put yourself under chronic stress on a long-term basis, that's going to have significant impact on you. And so, just the incredible work that Tristan and the health group have been doing just to raise awareness of this, I think has to be commended, because that's how you change culture, so that people are more aware that there's not, that they're not driving their staff to a level where they're potentially harming them, or people aren't driving themselves so hard that they're creating long-term or significant mental health and health problems.
Golly?
Well, we've been the culture's quite young, right? We're 30 years old. Most of us started out as ravers on the dance floor. We've been just DIYing our way through things, starting our companies, just figuring things out. And now with everything, you just kind of like hit a phase where you're like, what brought me here isn't going to take me to the next level of what I need to be doing. And that is where like new learnings are needed, and new ways of doing things, and you reach stress levels that are just not manageable anymore, or you're kind of at a loss to figure out how to sustain your business or have a healthy work-life balance. But really it all goes back to the idea that we're doing what we're doing because of the love for music, where none of us learned how to be managers. None of us learned how to manage teams, and we're learning all of this right now. And it's a great moment to add that to the vast knowledge we have of other things that we already know and are good at. Yeah.
Great. In this same way, I will try to make two questions in one. Actually, we're facing right now a problem that seems to have started in a country, but it's a global problem. Everybody, it's struggling with it. Probably the philosophers, the scientists are saying that the main problems that we should have in the near future, it might be nuclear power run, climate change, technological disruption. So I would like to say to provoke you to about the message of the power of collective, because when 25 years ago I jumped in this culture, I was passionate about it. It's exactly about a global culture that understand the planet as one. How we can, this is the two questions, make this historically thing, or this message from the dance culture get in the younger generations. This was Dave Clark and Guy Gabriel yesterday talked a lot about this issue. This is an important issue to the young generation. And on the other side, I am as well, and I am part here in Brazil in a lot of associations formats, trade bodies, as well as in the AFM. So what is, and I felt this year, as everybody is on fear, that everybody wants to hug each other and keep with each other. So the power of these entities had grown because of this, but how we keep this because of this scenario. So what is the importance of the associativism? Is something that gets stronger in 2020, and how you see this future? And do you feel, how do you see it in 2021? What would like to see in the music industry, trade bodies as AFM, as Impala, and collective societies? So this whole landscape of the power of collective that is very strong in our culture, and in your job in the AFM, it's for you four. The question. Start with our general manager, Greg.
That's a pretty broad question, and so I guess there's a number of ways. Well, there's no one way to answer it. I think it's pretty clear this year that the power of the collective and the level of support that can be provided if people are connected and can share intelligence, and you can share views on what the right things are to do, and to make the right decisions as to how to move forward. The collective voice and its ability to influence power structures, governments in particular, is an important one. So as an association, AFEM is, we're 7 years old, but we're still not as big as we aspire to be. And where I've seen particular we are a collective, and we have provided value in a number of ways for the members of our association and a broader community. But we're also, as an association, part of another association in the UK, where I would love to see a similar thing, similar umbrella associations that we could join to support the live sector in other territories as well. So, so we're a collective, and we're part of a collective of collectives in the UK called Live. And within that, there is the Music Managers Forum, there is the Featured Artists Coalition, Musicians Union, Music Venues Trust, various other entities that, through coming together as an even broader collective under one umbrella, they're able to have an effective voice to influence at a government level. And so I kind of think this year has not only pointed to the power of the individual collective that represents any particular one sector or one genre, like the AFEM does, or when I'm saying sectors, those other trade associations represent, say, just managers or just labels or just musicians, and then but to come together under even broader umbrellas to influence on a higher level. I think that's certainly a lesson that I've learned this year, that through the collective you can influence power structures that you wouldn't have dreamed of being able to have a significant influence on.
Great. Tristan and Golly, would you like?
I mean, from Greg has already said everything, that he's covered all the, the functional purposes of collectivity, but just from also just an emotional perspective, community is everything, mutual purpose is everything. Once you have that, and once you can define that, and once a big group of people are on the same page with one mutual purpose, there's a lot that can be done. And I think part of the problem, just speaking from my personal perspective as a independent company owner in the past 10 years, I think when I started, my career in electronic music started obviously in some way on the dance floor. And when I became active behind the curtains, there wasn't that much money to be made. It wasn't really a business. We were on a mission, and it was really just about getting electronic music out to as many places as possible and throwing as many parties as humanly possible. That was a mission, and it was really simple. It became really successful. It turned into a global thing. With globalization, it became bigger and bigger and bigger. And in the past, 6-7 years, increasingly, it's become a very, from my perspective, more disconnected version of itself, where there's no time to talk to one another. I used to just call promoters on the phone and have a fun conversation and book 6 artists on a phone call. And in the past 3 or 4 years, people hardly have time to answer emails. It's just become, this really fast running thing that is all about perpetual growth. And we kind of forgot that why we need to get back into the same room, why did we start this thing together, and why are we doing this? I think a lot of us kind of lost touch with the why, and this year and the problems around the pandemic are amplifying the need to just kind of reconnect with one another again, and give one another strength, so that we can not only get through this, but also think of ways where we can, like I said before, improve things for the future.
Great.
I think on that point, to Golly's point there as well, one of the things that's come through is why did we get into this in the first place? And the number of conversations I've had with people over the last few weeks and months, especially more recently, which is that I just want to go raving, I just want to be in a club, right? So this collective, everybody's on the same, everybody's desperate to get out and party, right? So this massive desire to go out there and be back immersed in the music and in the live environment is really strong. We're obviously very mindful of what that looks like safely in different regions where you can and can't do that at the moment. And at the moment, it's obviously very tentative. But, we're being very mindful about making sure that we get on top of this thing so we can have a sustainable industry going forward. But the key thing that comes from that is, despite that frustration that people might feel about not being able to go to the festival, to the club, to go out and party, is that collective sense of why are we in it? It's for the music. It's for the experience, that united experience of being on the dance floor. And that's what AFEM tries to do, is to unite the industry, is to work with all of these different trade bodies collaboratively around the world. I had a call from one based in the Netherlands this morning, actually, that looks specifically after artists. And we're going to have a conversation with them about maybe how we can sort of collaboratively work more closely together. That's what AFM very much does. We bring people together, whether that's within the membership, or we bring different trade bodies together, and we lobby and we work on behalf of all of those people that we represent. It's a massive community effort.
Yes, it is. Gabi.
It's very nice. Yeah, I think maybe to complement everything you just said, we have a lot of community. You have been supported, and you are supporting some of the, like artists and clubs and a lot of others institutions that is coming here. On the other hand, we have, and Goli said about making money and how we forgot about what we were doing. On the other hand, we also have a lot of pressure now, like you said on the first question. So artists are trying to make a difference. Everyone is trying to make something very wow, like amazing, and everyone wants to stand out somehow. And then sometimes it's on the other hand, like we want to take a step back and think about how we can feel what we were doing, like, and understand that we are here for the music, but on the other hand, they need to make money and a lot of things. And we have some platforms like YouTube, what's YouTube, Twitch, which came with the proposed trying to help artists to make money or things like that, at least a little bit. But I would like to know, how do you think these bigger platforms that artists are really creating music inside and trying to make lives and other like videos and things like that, how these bigger platforms could help, or are they supporting, they should support? How do you see their whole inside this whole environment that you are inside?
That's a really good question. It's probably the most poignant part of the industry at this point, since sort of live has been put on hold in most territories. So the growth of DJ live streaming in particular this year has been huge. I mean, just between March and April, when the lockdowns started to occur across in most territories, there was a 45% growth in the live streaming market just across those two months. And on Twitch, which was set up for live streaming of gaming in particular, and then adopted by artists, they saw a 50% jump in the hours watched between March and April, and it's continued to grow. And those platforms, whether it's YouTube, Facebook Live, whether it's Twitch, and whether it's Mixcloud Live and others, mixers, they've essentially presented an opportunity initially for artists to connect with fans, for fundraising opportunities, for community interaction, and mainly over the course of the year, it's kind of been those free to the user sort of models that have been used. And then I think that was all great, and I think now what's really important is how to pivot from that initial sort of isn't this an amazing technology while we can't do live shows and get together, just for sort of promoting a connection, into something that is potentially a real revenue stream for artists. And I think, certainly that's an area of particular interest for AFEM. We've been looking at the revenue models across the different platforms. And one of the problems we're seeing is certainly on some of the larger big tech-owned platforms, the processes and policies involved don't result in accurate payments to the creators of the music played. Some of them provide opportunities for the performer or the DJ to make money. And there's this disparity piece at this point. And so to fix that, what there needs to be is technology in place to ensure that whatever's played is recognized and identified, and so the accurate payments to the creators of that music can actually be paid going forward, and also that there is a a principle that across these platforms that it is, the right thing to do is to pay for the music played. So, and I guess the elephant in the room on that one is Twitch has been the live streaming platform of choice because it's got great connectivity, it's got great opportunity to connect with audiences and for them to interact as DJs play. But the very quick rise in the use of that platform for that has kind of left them on the back foot, putting their processes in place, and they don't necessarily have the licenses in place to pay for the music that's played. I know they're working in the background on that, and we're in touch with them. And I guess the key thing there is the timeline that they work to resolve that. Is they're kind of under pressure from lots of rights holders and labels at the moment to resolve that. On the other side of the coin is the potential to pivot away from free to the user streams to ticketed live stream events, and there's been some significant examples of success in that area this year. I guess the biggest one being the Tomorrowland stream, or certainly the most high-profile one, where depending on which report you look at, either 100,000 users or 1 million tickets were sold. It's somewhere in between that is the reality, but that is a significant revenue stream for artists and for the industry through a very high production value live stream with a very high tier of talent being put forward. And we're seeing more and more artists now taking the ticketed live stream approach, and I think that will potentially continue to grow as more teams start to restrict the number of free events, I guess, that they're doing online. Because the only way you'll start to be able to charge is if there's no access to those artists on a free basis. But it's an interesting area, and one that we've developed some core principles for, which are on our website as well, which is trying to educate people on, use the platforms that pay the creators of the music that's played. If you're a record label or an artist, make sure your music is delivered to music recognition technology companies that are used in the background so that you can be identified and paid if you are on the services that are doing that. For example, Mixcloud Live is, I'd say, a very good example of a platform that has a fair model where they're paying for where the artist that's performing gets paid, the music that's played is identified, and they've got a method to pay out, to remunerate the rights holders and creators of the music played.
Greg, are there any of these platforms associated in AFM, and what is the approach right now with them because of this issue?
Sure. So yeah, we have a number of streaming platforms that are members. So currently we have Mixcloud, we have SoundCloud, but we're in terms of sort of how we're engaging with the platforms where they're sort of catching up and trying to find the right model. So we're in discussion with Twitch in particular, and I think it's important to approach these things in a patient way, because what that platform represents is an opportunity particularly for DJs and artists to reach a large audience. The reason that it's been so popular is because artists can interact really well with audiences as they play. But there is, and so we don't want to push so hard that potentially they give up on allowing DJ live streams to occur on their platform. But you do want to see a roadmap for when they will put the mechanisms in place in the background for identifying what's played and paying for those licenses. So at the moment, we're sort of interacting and sort of in discussion and recommending technology solutions to them and seeing how we can assist move them forward.
Great. Tristan, green initiatives. Is there an opportunity to build the scene back better from an environmental and green perspective, besides pushing to support local scene and close the super world tours and planes from A to B point? This is something that is being saying to support local scenes, to stop traveling around the world. Is this a trend? Should us as a community support this view? And what are the green initiatives that you're foreseeing to 2021 after this moment?
It's a great question, Claudio. Like, the opportunity is fantastic right now. One of the major conversations we're having is looking at how artists can sort of rejig their touring. So maybe before, artists would go and play many countries at once, and perhaps in the future we're going to be looking at touring schedules which are more inclusive of one country. So perhaps, you know, they fly to Brazil or Germany or France, wherever it might be, and then they tour specifically around that country in a concentrated way. So
will you come back to Brazil again?
I would love to. I would love to go. But that thing again of whether you go to a conference as a fellow industry worker like we are, or you go there as a touring artist, it's how do you make the most of that trip? So perhaps you go to a conference, and then you look at what you can do regionally. So how many meetings can you incorporate in there? How many opportunities are there to collaborate and work with other people? Just everyone thinking a little bit more sort of broadly, rather than just, you know, we all know where people have flown in for one specific meeting or one specific conference, and you fly out again. Is, well, how do you make the most of that journey? And as an artist, how do you go to that destination and then maybe tour more broadly in that country by using trains or using shared transport or using something that's not a private jet, for example? You know, something that is environmentally aware. And then as an artist that's doing that, say you're adopting a more environmentally aware stance, fantastic. How do you help to shift change further? Well, you can use your amazing social media and networks and platform to really tell the fans about what you're doing and about what they can do. So maybe the fans are sharing transport to get to the festival. You know, that they're pooling resources. They're not necessarily flying in if they can get a train. You know, doing those different sorts of things. Artists having a wonderful opportunity to really help shape the conversation with the fans, with themselves, and then also with the festivals, the clubs, the promoters, where they can say, well, look, you know, we don't want plastic backstage. And a lot of festivals and clubs now have gone, you know, plastic free already. But furthering that message, you know, in our riders, we don't need all of this other stuff. We just need some glassware rather than plasticware, if that's what it is. It's a relatively small thing for management and artists to do, but it has a knock-on effect. It sends a very clear message about sort of what's expected and what the industry should be doing.
Golly, and from your agent perspective, would this be? Will people do this for the near future? What do you think? This will happen? This shift or this shift or no?
I think a lot of people sense there's a new sense of decency and altruism that is kind of you can feel it, right? It's there more than it was, you know, a year or two ago, and I think a lot of people will try to set good examples and clean up their spaces, their businesses, whatever they're doing. And you know, some people won't, just because they just don't believe in change, or they're it's all about growth for them. But I'm very hopeful. I think that, and I also think that even if just 20% or 10% of the promoters worldwide start implementing ideas on how to reduce waste, that's already a big step.
Gabi, yeah, actually we have time for two questions, one of yours and one mine, and then we are running out of time and should end. Oh, good, Gabi?
That's a nice positive view to start to end. Can you see? Can you listen to me?
Yes, yeah. Yes.
Hello? We got you.
Is my internet broken again? Yes? Okay, great. So we are going, I think, to an end. maybe getting a little bit of your view on how can we continue with this. I mean, it's easy once we have the vaccine, or once we have returning everyone partying and everyone, I don't know how long it will last, maybe 1 year, maybe 6 months, maybe 3 months. We don't know yet, but how can we take everything that we are learning now, everything that you are doing, everything that you are creating with this, I mean, it's awareness with people, trying to help people. How can we bring this to the future and not allow it to return to the point that we were before? You know, I mean, it's difficult, I know, but do you have any ideas on how can we, once we return to, you know, the scene, how can everyone work together to have a better, sustainable scene?
And is that Gabby, is that a sustainability question in terms of the environment, or just more broadly, how can the whole industry be more sustainable?
And maybe collaborate between countries more than they are do, because it's at least the whole industry.
Your internet's not good. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know, broken here. I don't know if you're listening to.
Actually, Tristan, how deep and for which way of
yeah,
the
I something happening here.
I think in terms of sustainability, I think that there's a lot of levels, aren't there? In terms of there's the environmental piece, which we've just spoken about, and that obviously goes far more broadly than what we just touched on there. But then there's the economic side, there's the employment side, there's the whole ecosystem. You know, how do we all work together to make sure that financially, for example, funds are more evenly distributed across the whole ecosystem, so that, you know, everybody that works in our industry is able to get paid fairly for the work that they do. And, you know, that's a big part of the work that we're looking at as well. And I think that there's a growing awareness from the period of time we've been in recently with the pandemic about, you know, how do we improve things at a local level? You know, for international events, how do we make sure that the fees and things that are being paid are being dispersed on an even more equitable basis? So the whole sustainability piece is really broad, and it cuts across through culture, right the way across to the economic side, I would say. Greg and Golly, I'm sure, have more to say on that point.
Greg?
Just to jump in, I think in the first instance, to actually get ourselves, you know, you're talking about, you know, getting back to where we want to be, which is sort of on the dance floor with the events occurring and an industry that's sort of functioning in a level of normality that we knew before. I mean, I think we're unlikely to go back to exactly the same level of normality for some time. And how we collaborate to get to any model which allows events to occur safely is a key piece of collaboration. And in that, you know, our focus, we've been focusing on research around rapid testing based event protocols, and which are sort of progressing in various territories, but finding that blueprint where you have scientific evidence to demonstrate that safe event protocols or safe events can occur and enable the industry to reactivate is absolutely crucial at this point. And Golly in particular has been focusing on this area, and there was a test event last weekend in Barcelona, the Apollo, which is seeking to demonstrate that through rapid testing and various other safety protocols in the event, that you can, and then also safety protocols and testing after the event, that it's possible to run a show with minimal or no risk of infection. Where the collaboration piece comes in here is that if once there's a number of entities that are progressing tests of this type or clinical trials of this type, but finding, sharing that knowledge across territories will help provide the blueprint for how events can start to come back, even with the vaccine in place. You're still going to need a safety protocol that enables people to come together without social distancing. And I think that is a key piece of collaboration, sharing that information across territories where these clinical trials are occurring. Golly, I don't know, did you want to sort of add in anything from on that side of things?
We're over time, right? Are we over time, Claudio?
Yes, we have.
We have time. Okay. Yeah, just to add into that, just I think it's important to agree that we need a new consideration for how we're going to run things financially in the future. You know, DJ fees were getting out of hand. The economy was exhausted. Most promoters didn't have any money. And if those same mechanisms continue, so many clubs are going to close down. So many festivals won't be around anymore after we do open up in any way, shape, or form. And I think we really have to rethink the ways that business was being run before and come up with new fair deals for everyone. And that needs to be reflected in contracts and maybe the way deals are negotiated. Maybe all of that just needs to be re-envisioned in order for things to work or survive, so that at some point we can thrive again. Because right now, you know, things are going to be really tricky for a lot of people, if not for everybody. Even when we open, yeah.
Guys, I would like to thank you so much for the disposal to sharing, for your time. I would like to ask you a final say to each one with the really positive trends for 2021, and a message, a special message in this moment to the young generations that are aiming to work in the industry as an artist or as a professional. What are your tips on it? And just to remind that we will summarize this week in a report with the most important insights and ideas. So follow our channels. But starting with you, ladies first, Golly, your final say.
Well, I mean, I don't really like to just refer to us as an industry. Most of us, it's a hard business, right? It's you know, working hours are undefined. Work and play is completely juxtaposed. There is no boundaries between you know, bosses and coworkers. Everything is like one big you know, party. But we're also an industry, and you know, my advice to people would be, if you really love music, and if that's your lifestyle, you know, step into electronic music. It's a really fulfilling place to flourish. There's a lot of love and support. But if music is just like one of those things that you kind of like do on the side and you don't really care about it, make space for somebody else. That's my advice.
Great. Greg?
I guess the message to a younger generation is that this will, you know, our industry will bounce back. It's incredibly innovative, and so this industry is something that is going to continue to grow, and that there are a broad set of roles within this industry beyond being the DJ or the artist that is at the front and center of everything, and that without these other roles in the background, whether you're a manager or an agent or a music publisher or a label, or working at a retailer or a streaming platform or a tech startup, that the industry doesn't function, and it doesn't. There is no platform for the creators. And so my point is that not everybody has the creative flair to be a top level DJ or creator, and there's a very small number of people that reach that pinnacle, and that shouldn't stop you from trying. If you are a talented creator, you go for it. But there are a broad set of roles where you can assist creators, you can be part of the process, you can be part of an industry which is hugely exciting to be within, and so it's looking at the the breadth of roles that you could potentially sort of research and become part of, and you know, whether it's becoming a professional and understanding how to put on a festival. I mean, the number of people that are actually really know how to do that are relatively small. So there's a huge number of roles that you could potentially look at, and if you're passionate about music and passionate about electronic music in particular, then you know, you can follow your passion in different ways.
Great, Mr. Tristan.
I'd like to expand on Greg's point, which is that I think the pandemic has also presented an opportunity where a lot of people have faced challenges at work. Maybe they've got a bit more time, whatever their professional field is, and that enables professionals such as yourself, Gabby, Golly, Greg, and me. We can all help other people, like anyone watching this, whatever your discipline, like Greg was saying there, you know, are you in A&R? Are you behind a record label? Do you want to get into publishing, or is events your thing? Do you want to become a festival promoter? Start to look at those people in your network. Look at conferences like this. Don't be afraid, you know, to the younger generation, don't be afraid to reach out to us and everybody across the industry, and seize this as an amazing opportunity to learn. You know, while things are a little bit quieter, people maybe have a little bit more time on their hands. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, you speak to people in this industry, like Ollie was just saying, it's super friendly, it's super inclusive, and they want to help people. If you're hungry and you're tenacious, and you really want to work in this industry, people will help you. So use that opportunity to reach out to professionals. If you're, you know, part of the younger generation that's coming into the industry, please do so. And then the other side of it is, if you are one of us, maybe a little bit older, been in the industry for a little bit longer, and you're watching this, you know, please do reach out to your networks, let people know that you're around and that you're happy to help out, because that's what's going to make the industry sustainable, is if we all put back in to what we've helped grow, and that will see the good future for it.
Great. Before asking Gabi for her final considerations, I would ask how to join nowadays AFM. Please give the way.
Sure. Well, check out our website in the first instance, associationforelectronicmusic.org, and there you can contact us through there, and we arrange a call, understand a little bit about you and your business, and then and you can become a member. It's relatively simple. You know, we'll send you details.
And what are your Brazilian members right now?
Who are the Brazilian members? Listing them off. Braz Live and Braz Beat, but I can't remember what Williams' new venture is called. I think it's Braz Beat Distribution. Mine's gone blank.
Okay, no problem. Gabi, your final considerations, and thank you to be on my side on this and hosting our friends from AFM.
Thank you, Claudinho. It was very interesting, this conversation. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for Greg, Tristan, and Gold as well. It was very nice to listen to your vision and you know, understand a little bit how can we grow as a community and put everything together to next year. And on my side, I'm not going to get long. I just want to say thank you. I would like also to say that in Brazil, we do appreciate a lot what you're doing. We do appreciate a lot, at least people like Claudinho and people that are really working on the industry. We are trying to look everything, what's happening in the world, to bring the bad things to here, and also to export. The industry is getting more international day by day here in Brazil. We used to have a lot of European sounds coming here all the time, so you're very influenced. I have lived in Europe, a lot of people are, and now we feel that everyone is getting more doing the thing, you know, like getting a lot of other, how do I say, varieties of influences everywhere. And I'm happy to say that everything that you said now are going to influence a lot of young kids. I work in my agency with a lot of very, very, very young artists, and they are trying to get a space in the industry. Some of them are watching here, I saw their comments, and I mean, they are very happy to see that we can also here in Brazil create be together in some associations. We don't have a big association like this, but what Claudinho is doing here is kind of like putting everyone together. So message here that I would like to everyone gets is be together, just be together and work together. We are not against each other. We are together in this industry. So thank you for meeting coming. So thank you for, sorry, Skype calling me here. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you. Let's life is like this. Let's continue building it. You're going to get through this.
Yes, definitely. Actually, I would say that yes, we have our association is exactly the Association for Electronic Music. BRMC is part since the beginning, and we make this hosts for new members to have a first call and understand how it works. I am part of it, and I can give my personal experience on it. It's a very great moment to be with them and in the conferences around the world to actually give a highlight in each niche that is important to see the whole landscape. And they are doing a great job. And thank you, Mr. Greg, Marshall, Tristan, Golly, and Gabby, for your time. It was amazing. Have an excellent end of the year. Thank you for your thoughts and your sharing here. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having us, Claudio.
Thanks, Claudio.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Gabby.
Bye-bye. Vou ficar mais 2 minutinhos. Bye-bye. Flávio. Boa. Só dando os recados finais aqui, agradecendo o papo aos nossos amigos da AFEM. Bom, encerramos aqui o nosso Morning Sessions. A gente tem 3 painéis aqui, 3 programas hoje à tarde. É o Opening Slot, às 16 horas. Eu vou estar com o Felipe Marreco, da Escola B-Hub de Economia Criativa. Vamos ter um papo sobre educação, lifelong learning. Vamos receber a Super Agatha Areias, que é head da Lexo, que é a unidade de Learning Experience do Rock in Rio, que tem embaixo desse guarda-chuva o Innovation Week em Portugal, o Rock in Rio Academy. O Rafa Brama, que é sócio do Hub Music Group, que, enfim, o Rafa tem esse skill aí de educador, ele tem o Musicalizando, tem esses cursos, além da Boost, da Hub Records e da Nova, que é um grupo que com certeza todo mundo conhece. Mais à frente, a gente tem novamente nossa querida Gabi e a Anne B como host do BRMC, convidando aí a Juliana Cavalcante, da agência Reality de Recife, super produtora do Nordeste do Brasil, a Andréa Batista, da Box Talent, Booker e grande talento aí da nossa indústria há muito tempo, e a DJ Rivica e o DJ Man. Rivica, 13 anos, além de tudo, uma grande musicista, toca piano, baixo, DJ, é uma ativista das causas do meio ambiente, da causa animal, vegana, enfim, tem um monte de mensagem legal aí nessa querida menina que é a Rivica. E o DJ Man, da mesma forma, tem uma ligação aí com os povos originários, com os índios. Ele se apresenta de cocar, toda a sua obra como artista tem esse olhar. A gente está no momento aí de as florestas pegando fogo, os índios aí sofrendo, como a história mostrou. Eu acho que ele vem inclusivamente trazer esse olhar e a gente fica muito feliz de recebê-lo. E no Chill Out, nosso super encerramento de hoje, do meu lado, Vitor Flose, da Play BPM, e vamos receber incrível Guga Trevisani, da Entourage, só track boa, grande grupo aí brasileiro hoje, surfando uma super onda, com só track boa, festival talvez maior sucesso aí na história do país, enfim, em mais praças, e passou por esse ano de 2020, vamos ver o que ele traz aí. Grande Mário Sérgio, meu querido amigo da MS Live, sócio com o Maurício Soares, enfim, Mário Laroque, Ami, Tomorrowland, está conosco no Rock in Rio. Mário, grande figura e grande player, grande amigo. Paula Miranda, do grupo Privilege, head de um monte de coisa dentro desse grupo, lá com o nosso Yuri e Otávio. Então vai ser um papo sobre também que vai acontecer, quais são as visões aí positivas. Agradecendo, sem esquecer do nosso querido Topo Chico, nosso patrocinador. Grande abraço, a gente se vê mais tarde. Valeu, obrigado pela audiência, valeu a todos.
Chegou a novidade pro rolê. E aí, você já provou? Topo Chico, um divisor de águas, com gás, com álcool e aroma natural de fruta.
Credo, que delícia. Pra você beber geladinho na beira da praia, da piscina, da banheira, por que não? Difícil encontrar um rolê que não combine.
Topo Chico, leve e refrescante em 90 calorias.
E aí, topa?
Chegou a novidade pro rolê. E aí, você já provou? Topo Chico, um divisor de águas, com gás, com álcool e aroma natural de fruta.
Credo, que delícia. Pra você beber geladinho na beira da praia, da piscina, da banheira, por que não? Difícil encontrar um rolê que não combine.
Topo Chico, leve e refrescante em 90 calorias.
E aí, topa?
Chegou a novidade pro rolê. E aí, você já provou? Topo Chico, um divisor de águas, com gás, com álcool e aroma natural de fruta.
Credo, que delícia. Pra você beber geladinho na beira da praia, da piscina, da banheira, por que não? Difícil encontrar um rolê que não combine.
Topo Chico, leve e refrescante em 90 calorias.
E aí, topa?
Chegou a novidade pro rolê. E aí, você já provou? Topo Chico, um divisor de águas, com gás, com álcool e aroma natural de fruta.
Credo, que delícia. Pra você beber geladinho na beira da praia, da piscina, da banheira, por que não? Difícil encontrar um rolê que não combine.
Topo Chico, leve e refrescante em 90 calorias.
E aí, topa?
Chegou a novidade pro rolê. E aí, você já provou? Topo Chico, um divisor de águas, com gás, com álcool e aroma natural de fruta.
Credo, que delícia. Pra você beber geladinho na beira da praia, da piscina, da banheira, Por que não? Difícil encontrar um rolê que não combine.
Topo Chico, leve e refrescante em 90 calorias.
E aí, topa?
Chegou a novidade pro rolê. E aí, já provou? Topo Chico, um divisor de águas, com gás, com álcool e aroma natural de fruta.
Credo, que delícia. Pra você beber geladinho na beira da praia, da piscina, da banheira, Por que não? Difícil encontrar um rolê que não combine.
Topo Chico, leve e refrescante em 90 calorias.
E aí, topa?
Chegou a novidade pro rolê. E aí, já provou? Topo Chico, um divisor de águas, com gás, com álcool e aroma natural de fruta.
Credo, que delícia. Pra você beber geladinho na beira da praia, da piscina, da banheira, Por que não? Difícil encontrar um rolê que não combine.
Topo Chico, leve e refrescante em 90 calorias.
E aí, topa?
Chegou a novidade pro rolê. E aí, já provou? Topo Chico, um divisor de águas, com gás, com álcool e aroma natural de fruta.
Credo, que delícia. Pra você beber geladinho na beira da praia, da piscina, da banheira, Por que não? Difícil encontrar um rolê que não combine.
Topo Chico, leve e refrescante em 90 calorias.
E aí, topa?
Chegou a novidade pro rolê. E aí, já provou? Topo Chico, um divisor de águas, com gás, com álcool e aroma natural de fruta.
Credo, que delícia. Pra você beber geladinho na beira da praia, da piscina, da banheira, Por que não? Difícil encontrar um rolê que não combine.
Topo Chico, leve e refrescante em 90 calorias.
E aí, topa?